Alrighty, what's up, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of the I Can't Explain podcast. I'm your host, Goda T. In today's episode, we will be diving into film photography. I am joined by my awesome and very talented good friend of mine, Chris Isono. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Also, side note, shout out to Eric of Harbor's Vintage for letting us record in his shop. We are very broke boys. Yeah, we don't really have a designated space for all of this to happen.
If you shoot film, you're gonna be broke for quite a while.
Yeah, so shout out to Eric. But anyways, yeah. So what is up, Chris? What is up, Isono, Chris?
Can't believe you messed up your own intro.
I know, whatever. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Okay, we'll do it again.
Nah, that's cool. Coronavirus is up.
Jesus Christ.
That's kind of been putting a thorn in just everything in daily life. Other than that,
true. But yeah, so today we'll be talking about film photography. Just kind of like the basics of it. Why it's kind of popular in pop culture in general right now. And yeah, we'll just kind of do like a rundown of this.
I guess it's like, I think cameras are like, it's so easy to take a decent picture because everyone has like a really good camera in their phone,
right?
That I think that's why people are like, you see so many like decently nice pictures that people are like, hey, film has imperfections and character, and that's why people wanna, I don't know, that, and like it's definitely a trend,
Yeah.
And people hop on trends and just riding the wave of it right now. But I don't know, I mean, it's definitely a good thing, except for driving the prices of cameras up. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, so off air we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
How, this particular film point and shoot film camera, it's called the Contax T2, has recently skyrocketed in price.
I mean, it's the thing is, it's always been like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a really good quality build. It's very sharp. And I guess for people that may not be familiar with this kind of lingo, it's a really good camera overall, and just in general.
And just because one of the Jenners, I don't remember which one and whatever, but they pulled it out on television, and now that drove the price up to almost double. Frank Ocean shot with a Contax T3 at the Met Gala.
You're right.
Prices went up again, and
yeah. But yeah, so I guess so I guess we'll give like our opinions on the reason why film is so popular, right now in 2020, and within
Eric
even the
is
last
leaving the room.
I'd say maybe
it's been on the rise for a couple
the last
years.
Yeah, like at least 2 or 3 years easily. Yeah. I mean, personally, I shoot a lot of film. I know you shoot a lot of film.
I shoot quite a bit of film.
Yeah, and I think it's just really easy, is the thing.
I mean, there's debatably so. The cost of entry now to start with point and shoots and like the Fuji Instax, and I think that's like, T has just unplugged something. But I don't know. Like, it's like I said, I think it's mainly like people are just riding the wave of it, or part of it's like for the aesthetics, not really for the craft. But
true.
I scan my film border, so I guess that's for aesthetics also. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's kind of funny to see like the people now who maybe like 3 years ago you'd be really proud of like a film picture you took, and they'd be like, oh, it's okay, it's whatever. Now they're like hitting you up about, hey, I want to start shooting film. Should I buy a
Yeah.
Canon AE1?
Right.
Which you should not, because it's a terrible camera.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, no, I think you do have a point in the sense where, yeah, prior to this, like, really boom in film and stuff like that, everybody's like, oh, yeah, like, I have the best digital camera, I shoot Canon, and I have this 5D Mark IV or whatever, I have this Nikon D9000 or
I have
whatever.
a Sony, and I take pictures of my camera instead of taking pictures with my camera.
Right, and then the shift towards...
That's gonna make a lot of people mad.
And this shift towards film photography has really taken a hold of, I guess, society and just like the sphere of pop culture.
Yeah.
Right, and then so everybody's like nowadays, like everybody's asking like, oh, what film are you shooting with, or what camera are you shooting with?
And it's, I don't know. I think it's cool, definitely. But it's, I don't know. It's like, I think it's cool in the sense where, smaller businesses can like buy and resell cameras, and I'm against reselling generally, but
Right.
like it's, you can find new cameras for like good deals. I just bought a camera for a good deal, like $100 off of
Like market value.
market
or whatever.
value.
Yeah.
And it's, it's helping Kodak and Fuji like stay afloat.
Right.
They're bringing back like older films like Ektachrome, which was, I hate it. I hate Ektachrome. I've never shot a good roll of it, but it's cool to see like, oh wow, these people are buying a lot of film. Let's, bring some back, and ultimately it's a good thing, but
Right.
I just don't know how to feel about it,
Yeah, and I think that is the thing with people that shoot film at the moment, is that it's rather divisive,
It's
because I mean, film is ridiculously expensive. Anybody that shoots film can understand where we're coming from, where from the actual purchasing of your camera,
yep.
To the purchasing of film.
Which film you want.
Right,
then-
and film is not cheap either. You only get in most rolls. I mean, I guess modern day rolls, you get 36 exposures. If you're shooting like an expired roll, you get maybe 24.
Yeah.
Give or take, maybe one or two shots that will not come out. And
Yeah.
right, so you have your camera, you have your film that you're actually shooting, which you only get 36 shots on, and then you take it to a place to get
take it to a
developed,
lab.
and then if you don't have like a scanner, you get it scanned.
Yep.
Right, so like it's just kind of like a lot of money along this process of finally, and then so you get it developed, you get it scanned, and then you finally get the final image, and then your roll was blank because you loaded it wrong or something. And I think we can all relate, when we first started shooting.
Oh.
Like that's the worst. Anybody that shoots film will
tell you-
understand that's the worst feeling in the world. It's
tell
like
you,
it's just like, imagine if you were you were baking a cake,
God.
and then the cake like it came out like burnt out of the oven or something.
So
or
I'll tell you a story real quick. So this camera I bought is a Mamiya 645 Pro.
okay.
It's a system camera, which I don't think anyone was really going to understand what that means, but
Well,
it came
we
with
can
a,
get into that a little bit
yeah.
later on. Yeah.
But I bought it for a really good price.
Mhm.
Like I said, $150 below market value. And I was really excited. I bought my favorite film, color film for daytime, which is Pro 400H.
Okay.
Exposed it, and
Right.
I loaded it, and I was excited. I shot some pictures of a friend in SF, and I shot some scenes, like night scenes. It was really great. I come back home. I shot.
Oh, do you hear that? Oh, JK.
I shot about 13 rolls, including that one roll of medium format. Went to my local film lab, dropped all of it off, paid a stupid amount of money to get all of them developed. And I go back a day later. I'm like, hey, how's it going? He says, good. I look at the envelope, 12 rolls. That one roll of medium format pictures is blank, and those shots are forever lost. I can't get them back. And
See, yeah, and that's the other thing about film is
like
that
the
like
worst
you don't get
feeling.
like the instant gratification. You're kind of just
But like I said, like I feel like because you can take a picture so easily on the iPhone, like instantly, and it's already like a half decent picture. I think people are really like that's what they're kind of looking for. That's why there's been such a shift towards film. Also, and I realized also that T and I sound like a bunch of hipsters. And
oh yeah, that is definitely that is not the intention with this podcast.
We're
or
just
I guess
really,
especially this episode.
We're just really salty that we can't buy contacts for $300 anymore.
No, yeah, and then I think what it is too is that because there's such a demand and there's like the popularity of film photography is on the rise, right? That just gives opportunities for people to, I guess, gouge prices on film, on cameras, on
just
parts
anything
for your cameras and such.
Just anything like kind of related to it. Like I don't know, man. Like I like to shoot a lot of film at night. I like to shoot at night in general. And there's a shutter release cable for the Mamiya. That's $85, and I have to buy it. Yeah, I'm like
$85.
You can't see it, but T's face is in absolute shock.
See, and so I guess for people that may not be familiar with what a shutter release cable is basically a cable that you connect to your camera.
Yep.
That acts as a shutter button basically, so it will open and close the shutter on the camera for you, and that's $85 for
which is absolutely absurd. Because
this is giving me anxiety already.
I have, because you can go to Treehouse for Hawaii listeners, if anyone listens to this. You can go to Treehouse and get one for like $12, and even then that's kind of expensive. You can go on eBay and get one for $5.
True.
So it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately I think it's a good thing,
right,
that film people are kind of catching this wave, and like it keeps it alive, because a few years ago people were like, oh man, Kodak's gonna Kodak went bankrupt, I think, right?
I believe so. Yes.
And like Fuji was like, oh, no one's buying our film, so they discontinued a bunch of film.
Right, yeah, they discontinued like probably one of my favorite films, Natra 16.
Yep, I still have one roll.
Yeah, I think I only shot one roll ever, but that's probably like
the best nighttime film there ever was.
Yeah, hands down, because the colors of it were really nice, the tones.
Minimal grain too.
Yeah.
It's such a high ISO film.
Yeah, very minimal grain, which is like when it looks like there's like sand on your image, but yeah, very minimal.
I also like grains. I don't know. Kind of.
But transitioning into, I guess, away from how expensive film is, though, let's talk about like the exposure that I guess individuals are able to experience when shooting with film. Because from my understanding,
come down the stairs.
From my understanding, there's there's definitely been an upswing of the amount of, I guess, Instagram or social media accounts, and just different like entities that have developed just specifically around film.
Eric has grabbed a set of clothes hangers and is hanging up shirts.
What are your thoughts on Gunnar Stahl?
What's that?
Gunnar Stahl? Or Race Corrupted Mind?
Oh yeah.
Rapper
photographer. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, or even like Travis Scott.
I don't.
Yeah, like all these famous people that shoot film, and do you think that plays a role in, I guess, the popularity of film? Because
definitely.
I'm gonna blatantly and very whatever. I'm gonna plug it. So during our first episode with Eric, we talked about how the popularity of vintage items can be kind of like accounted to because of, I guess, a lot of famous people getting into vintage stuff.
Yo, that shirt is fire. I mean, that's...
So, I mean, so I guess what is your take on that, though? Like, famous people getting involved with...
I feel like that's
film.
always kind of... I don't know. Okay, so I feel like that's always kind of been, not really a problem, but that's just how marketing kind of worked, Like, I can't really give an example, but... I don't know. That's kind of just how things work, and like photojournalists have always like stuck to using Leicas, and that has kept the price of Leicas up. I would know. I have one sitting on a pair of shoes right here.
And then I guess
People are
just
gonna
to
be mad
give
about that.
people an idea of, because like the I want to like make things as like clear as possible
So
for our listeners. So Leica is like a very
Leica is a very
high quality,
world-renowned German brand that makes rangefinder cameras.
Yeah. And then so I guess in your situation specifically, how much did you pay for your Leica? Oh no.
The body itself was about $2,000. Just the body, no lens. $2,000. The strap is $40, and the lens was $400. And
so roughly, that setup is like
that's
$2,500.
$2,500 camera sitting on a pair of shoes. But anyway, like I said, I feel like there's been influencers throughout history before like Instagram, obviously.
Right.
And that's kind of just how things worked, like the Nike Cortez, that's one example where I'm pretty sure it like won an Olympics event, and then now they're still making the damn shoes.
Right. I mean, and Forrest Gump wore them.
They were in Forrest Gump.
Shout out to Tom.
Shout out Tom Hanks.
Shout out Tom Hanks. I hope you beat
You got
Corona.
really loud right there.
Yeah, as of this recording, Tom Hanks has Corona. Yeah. Our warmest regards.
They got Gump. But yeah, I mean, so that's always like kind of been a concept that's been around, and I can't really say it's surprising when it comes to like film stuff or camera stuff or I don't know. I just feel like I appreciate photography as an art form because it's the only thing only kind of art I'm decently good at.
Oof.
And it's, I've invested a lot of time into practicing photography. I'd say like half of my life at this point.
Yeah, see, and I think that's like kind of the cool thing about like specifically film photography in 2020 is that there are a lot of people nowadays that can shoot your wedding in digital, and they can make it really nice. But it's like a little bit harder. It's honing your craft a little bit to be able to shoot like entire wedding on film, which I do know people that do that, and I mean, total respect for those people, because like going out there and not being able to see what it is you're shooting immediately, and just like hoping and crossing your fingers and praying that it comes out, like that's that's ballsy.
That's unimaginable amount of stress.
That is. So I mean,
that's a lot.
Lots of respect to individuals that do that.
Also,
but even like we have our really good friend Rayma Jaime, who shoots
Shout
film. Shout out Rayma. Go follow her on Instagram.
The Portra 160 God.
I know. So fire. Her stuff is super good. You should definitely check her out. But anyways,
we stan Rayma because
don't
she's
mind
out
the
here
plug.
doing it.
But No, yeah, I mean, but even like people like Rayma, she implements it into her photography business and such. You know, she'll shoot for businesses such as Harbor's Vintage, and I know she also does like Asato Family, Sherbert.
She did one with Sig Zane. That was sick.
Yeah, and then it's on film though, and it just, you know what I mean. So it looks really nice. It gives it like that nice.
It's like
I mean, just the film look in general.
It's a less like artificial kind of look, because I feel like, I'm just gonna keep saying it, but like, it's so easy to take pictures on digital that like sometimes they're too perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that's why for a while I was just like completely trashing my Fuji files, because we both shoot Fujifilm digital cameras.
Yeah, you would artificially add grain. You would purposely.
I was like just making them look as terrible as possible because they look too nice out of camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm doing this too much, so I might just pick up film again.
Yeah.
Because, you know, eventually, like with anything, you get tired of it and you try something new, and then you go back and the cycle continues. But
yeah, but yeah. I think personally for me, that's what I really enjoy about film is that from like, I mean, there are people out there that do touch up their film stuff. Yeah. But me personally, I don't like touching up my film stuff. I usually just like if I'm using it for my portfolio or if I'm using it for social media, it's just straight out of camera. I don't do any kind of touch ups. The only touch up might be cropping. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but even then, like, it's very minimal. But yeah, I mean, that's why I personally like shooting. I've been shooting a lot of film recently, is because it's very easy. Yeah. I don't ever touch it up.
It's definitely it's a different process, but I think overall it's easier unless you get into self-developing, which is
a totally, you know, separate category of like within film photography, because that's taking the whole lab service out of it and you're doing it yourself, so you're going into your own dark room.
Which
and
I highly respect people that self-develop.
That too. Yeah, people that self-develop and it comes out really good.
Yeah, because I like self-scanning sucks sometimes. Eric is pointing at something. Oh, he has a gun in his hand. I'm just kidding. It's a price gun. He's pricing shirts. Calm down. But yeah, I mean, there's like, I think a lot of people that are getting into film because of influencers or because of us.
Yeah. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. We're not throwing shade at anybody.
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that people get into film because of Chris and T, but well, I mean, it's also possible that it's happened. But anyway,
I know. Shout out to those people that are shooting film specifically because of me and Chris. Which you are the real homies. If you are shooting film specifically because of us, though, feel free to hit us up. Yeah, we'd like to get to know you a little bit.
Or if we already know you and you didn't tell us, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah, why didn't you tell us? What the? That's whack. You should totally have just told us.
But yeah. Like I said, like I forgot what I was saying.
Well, you were talking about self-developing, but yeah, so that's just like kind of like this whole.
So anyway, I feel like people that are starting to get into film at a surface level, because obviously, you know, everyone starts somewhere and you can't knock them, even though we're bitter about a lot of things. You can't knock them, like they're keeping the art form alive. Right. But I just feel like to start with something, you got to realize you're starting on a surface level and there's so many more layers in this film shit. And then, I swore.
You know, that kind of appreciation does kind of come with time. Yeah, kind of comes with like getting to know the.
It's a lot of patience and learning how to be humble about it, I'd say. Right. Eric has grabbed my car keys and removed them from us.
But I think I think that is the side of film photography that people don't see very often. Is like the amount of like work that goes into, I guess, creating these photos a lot of times.
Yeah, which, I mean, I think with film YouTube, which is a whole different thing, I think people are starting to see it. Right. channels like Grainy Days,
Yeah, Grainy Days.
Willem Verb, Joe Greer.
Yeah, and then there's like that
Negative
one
Feedback.
dude out in New York. He's like the Canadian dude.
Canadian.
I can't think of his.
I don't know.
But
But
he talks very monotone and what's up, guys?
that's Willem Verb.
Yes, yeah, that guy.
No, he's from like Belgium or something.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
Belgium.
But yeah, I mean they kind of further like you can kind of see the behind the scenes of like okay, you have to set up and then you have to meter and then they
Mm-hmm.
for the most part like you can kind of get a idea of the process of like a planned shoot or like shooting on purpose versus shooting with a point and shoot,
Right.
which
I mean, and then even like with shooting it with a point and shoot, though, it's like you have to kind of understand what your camera's going to meter it at, and then
Yeah.
like there, like from there, kind of like compose the image differently.
yeah
Versus like someone. I mean, but with a point and shoot too, it's a little bit different because you can just turn on the flash and be done with it.
yeah it's I don't know like
But yeah, no, I think I definitely do agree with you that there is layers to film photography
Yeah.
that I think people don't necessarily see upon like looking at it from the outside.
yeah
If you're not fully aware, and even for people that do shoot film, they may not be going down to like that next level.
Yeah,
And I
which
don't
is-
blame them, because it is a lot of work.
But yeah, it definitely is. But then it's also kind of like I don't want to use the word poser, and I don't want to attack anybody or
Yeah.
call anybody out. But there is definitely kind of like if this is all you're shooting, why are you shooting film kind of thing?
Right. I do understand what you mean by
Which
that.
is, it's undeserved, I'll admit, and like I said, it's mainly just because T and I are hipsters and whatever, and we're salty about whatever. But I don't know. Like it's kind of like you could have took the same picture and thrown a visco filter on it, which I've seen you do already.
Right, yeah. I mean, and I think that's like where I think the I guess popularity and appreciation for film also comes from.
Yeah.
With like apps such as Visco.
Yeah,
There's like
for
Huji or whatever I think it's called. Is it Huji?
Oh, the Huji wave was crazy. That was
Right, and then they're like
dark time.
like a bunch of different.
Eric's laughing off recording right
Oh,
now.
no. But like yeah, I mean, so I think
I think yeah.
at the very beginning part of like the film wave, there were these like
even
apps
before that, I think I think Visco was really like the thing that kind of set it off.
Yeah, so low key, Visco a champion for film photographers.
Well, cause their whole thing was before Visco Cam, they made film presets for Lightroom, right?
Right.
And I've used one, and
Ooh.
yeah, I know.
Ooh, exposed.
I'm talking
you
all
heard
this
it here,
shade.
folks.
I'm talking
you heard
all
it here
this-
first.
I'm talking all this shade, and I did that, so I'm a hypocrite. But anyway, but yeah, and then Visco Cam came out, and everyone started using C1,
Right.
which is kind of like a Color Plus clone.
Yeah.
in a way.
Very similar.
Yeah. See,
I use
Eric.
C1 all the time.
Eric uses
Hey,
C1 all the time.
You heard it here.
you heard-
Eric of Harbor's Vintage uses
Eric
C1.
Mall
So if
does
you
not
want your
shoot
images
film.
to look like old Harbor's Vintage lay flats, C1.
But
C1.
but I mean, like he knows what he's doing. Like he's running a shop,
Right.
But I think a lot of people tried to pass off their digital work as film, and that's infuriating. That because
Yeah. I guess it just like any type of art,
That's-
it'll happen.
that's kind of like
unfortunately.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's-
So I mean, so kind of transitioning out of this talpic though.
Why
Let's
why
talk
am
about
I
like I
so
guess like the
salty
cool
about
I
this?
guess the cool I guess different and like cool film stocks that have come out of
Yeah.
like this nice film resurgence.
Mhm.
I know Lomography has a bunch of cool
They
they have like the purple chrome or whatever
yeah,
or violet
so
chrome.
Lomo Purple
Yeah. Lomo
Definitely.
Purple, which I've
It's
seen.
a very interesting like kind of film.
Yeah, I mean, and I've
Yeah.
seen some really cool images with people using
Yeah.
Lomo Purple,
Yeah.
Lomo Chrome Purple or whatever. And it's a very acquired taste.
Yeah.
It's a very specific kind of subject, but stuff like that. So like Lomo Chrome purple.
And then there's also I mean Lomo 800. I saw this one photographer from LA.
Right.
He said he stopped shooting portrait 800 because he liked Lomo 800 that much
Ooh.
better, which is like a big compliment,
I
I'd
know.
say.
Yeah, I mean life hacks though. I don't know if we should say this on air.
No, I know
Nah.
what you're saying. I know what you're
Okay,
thinking.
okay. If you
No,
want
we
to know
shouldn't.
what I was gonna say, feel free to hit me up in the DMs. I'm
No,
not gonna say it on
No,
here.
we're just gonna say it, and T's gonna censor it. We're not.
Lomo
no, we're not
4
saying
is
it.
basically
We're not-
Kirkland Portrait 4. We're gonna bleep this out.
It's so Lomo Film is basically a great value brand Kodak film, but
Bum bum bum.
you're bleeping that out. I'm gonna make sure you bleep that
We're
out.
gonna bleep all of this out. Well, all of that out. Anyways, moving on. But yeah, so
But yeah, and then
Lomography, though?
there's Cinestill, which took Kodak Vision and made it possible to shoot, and develop with C41 or
Right.
whatever the chemical mix is.
yeah, and then like Cinestill has like a cool like red like filter.
halation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Very
Like tungsten. There you go. Tungsten filter.
It's a very interesting color balance that also was kind of an acquired taste.
It kind of is, yeah.
They have a daytime film which is gorgeous.
Ooh, Cinestill 50D.
They have a black and white film which is also gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's this other film that I wanted to mention. I have yet to shoot it though because this
It's because
particular
we're
shop
broke.
is based out of Melbourne, Australia. But they have this film. What is it
Melbourne?
called? They have their own like in-house film. If I can find
Eric
it.
and I were laughing at T just then. So while T tries
Shoot,
to
yeah.
find
Well,
that, I'm just gonna keep going on. So there's in terms of like new film that's come out, Lomography has released like a Metropolis kind of film. They rate it as a daytime film. It's like a variable rating. I actually found out about this from Linus and his camera. Shout out Linus.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's like an interesting film. It looks like 30s color film, but not color.
Mm-hmm.
But with the emphasis on like kind of red tones.
Ooh. Wait, what is this film stock called?
It's called Lomo like Metropolis, I think.
Oh, is this the one? It's like a variable ISO.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah,
It's
I-
pretty interesting. Like
Huh.
I'm not sure if I like the images, but
Yeah.
it is something like kind of different, and I can
Yeah.
see like a time and a place for it. But like,
Right.
I'm not sure.
But I mean, I think the cool part of it is that it's like a variable ISO. So like
Yeah.
you can kind of set it. So basically, what this means is you can set it. You can set it kind of to whatever like brightness you need, whether it's like super early in the morning or like mid
Or
afternoon.
like mid afternoon.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool. I found it. I found it.
You
So
found it.
we're gonna plug this. It says called Film Never Die, and they have like their
That is-
own.
Is that the shop name?
Yeah, that's a shop name, but
Okay,
that's
I was-
also the name of their. Oh no, sorry. And then they have like their own in-house film, which I think is super cool. And it's Film Never Die, IRO ISO 400.
Edo.
Yeah, and it's only 27 exposures, but the images are just really nice. Like these, check it out. I'm gonna show Chris real quick, but these tones are just
Ooh,
really nice.
that's wow.
Even for like
Yeah.
portrait use too. I think that's what people kind of are like. I feel like that's why people really like
It
portraits
looks
because
like-
when they use it for portraits, the skin tones are really nice. But I have yet to.
Someone just opened a canned beverage. I think that was.
I have yet to
It-
order a roll. It's
it-
only $10, but it's shipped from Australia, and we live in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
It kind of looks like. I want to say it looks like a portrait, but like
Almost.
slightly colder tones,
Yeah.
which is
But I think that
Yeah.
that's cool though. It's like this, this film resurgence has allowed for, like
That's
mom
like-
and pop film shops to be able
Yeah.
to like come up with their own film stocks. And that's just one example of
Yeah.
many examples that are out there. I'm pretty sure there are many other, film shops out
There's-
there doing their own film stocks.
and there's so many different variances of film. Like we haven't even gotten into slide film, which I hate shooting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we are running a little bit long, but we'll just like run down real quick because
Alright.
so there are different sizes of film.
There's
For people that may not be
the
familiar
most
with it.
common one is 35.
Yeah, so that's
Millimeter.
35 millimeters. So that's the one you typically see people running around with in using their Canon AE1s
or
their
point and shoots.
their point
or-
and shoots or whatever. So that's 35 millimeter film. That's just like usually typically you can get 36 exposures out of it, 37 if you're lucky. Yeah. Yeah, so that's 35 millimeter film. There's also 120.
Medium format 120 film.
Yeah,
There's
medium
220
format
film also, but I don't think anyone shoots 220 anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's 120, and with
And
120
yeah, and then the
film,
amount of exposures is usually like 12,
Well-
anywhere from 12 to like 24-ish, right?
No, it's like
Or
okay, so it's weird because 120 has different sizes. 120 is 6x5, which is what I shoot.
Right.
That's about 15 exposures. 6x6, that's 12-ish.
Mhm.
6x7, that's like 10,
Mhm.
and 6x9, nice, which is like 8
yeah.
or 7.
Yeah, so it
or
kind
something.
of varies because it's like all the same formatting but different frame size. Is
yeah,
that what it is?
it's hard to explain, but
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so even for like someone like me that has been shooting film for about a year or so or two, like
been shooting
I'm not
film for
100% familiar with
kind of a while.
120 format, but
Yeah.
that's like medium format. It's bigger,
bigger
higher
negative
quality photos
yeah.
usually. It's a lot
So-
sharper than 35 millimeter.
When you hear someone talk about like a full frame camera, like if they have a Sony A7, that's 35 millimeter size, and then medium format's bigger than that. So
Yeah.
and like a full frame image is like amazing,
Right.
but then imagine like that, but like
Bigger.
3 times the size.
Yeah, bigger,
It's crazy.
sharper, badder.
Work it.
And then there's also it's not as common or popular nowadays, but there's a 110 millimeter or 110.
Yeah, the 110's weird.
110 is weird. It's like it's like half. Is it like half frames?
I think it's smaller than half frame.
Right,
Like,
it's
like-
smaller than half frames.
It's like for like spy cameras.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, funny story though. Really random, super off topic, but I remember when I was a kid. Like this was like when I was maybe like
That was last
6
year.
or 7. 6 or 7. I remember like hanging out at my grandma's house and like she used to live in Waikiki, and she used to have like those like those slide like spy like
Yeah.
film cameras, and I
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
think that was the coolest thing ever. And, like I would like take it everywhere I go and go.
But did you ever like take any like the pictures? Did they ever come out from it or? it
Oh,
was just
no! I didn't know how to load it.
Oh.
I think.
Well, I think even
it was,
when
it was
we
one
were,
of those cameras, like it was one of those like kind of like things that you just have around.
yeah.
That's just.
But
like,
I think
"Oh, this is
even when
cool."
we were kids, like I don't think 110 was really a format that anyone.
Yeah, but I
I don't
remember she just had the camera, and I don't remember why or whose camera it was, but it was just there.
Speaking of
Random.
like camera finds, I found a Kodak Brownie in my.
What?
So the funny story, I was with a mutual friend of ours.
Mm-hmm.
She drove me home,
Uh-huh.
and then my garage was leaking.
Your
Water.
garage?
Yeah. So
Your garage?
here in my garage, I have space for vehicles,
Okay.
and then my front door, and then there's like some side storage.
Mm-hmm.
There's water filters in that side storage,
Mhm.
and the filter busted, so it's leaking water.
Mm.
So I opened it up, I patched it up because I'm like low-key a plumber, but not really.
Oh.
And then
Oh, if you need a handyman, call Chris Isono.
please don't, unless you're paying.
Ooh.
Anyway, hey Eric.
Eric's like making a mental note of this. He's like, I will call Chris if I need something fixed.
It can wire your lights for you also, but.
Oh.
Or if I need a coffee machine.
Or if you need a coffee machine.
Oh yeah, if you need a coffee tech.
Anyway, and then so I had to take some stuff out, let it dry, obviously, because stuff got wet, and I just found like a stash of super old cameras from like the 30s, and it was incredible. But I don't know if I can use them now. Anyway, continuing on with our discussion about film sizes and formats, there's also large format, which I know nothing about, it's a completely different animal. I can't explain it.
I can't. We have failed as the I Can't Explain podcast.
We'll get Brandy Lou on here to.
Oh yeah,
Brandon Lou to talk about large format because he's probably shot large format.
Yeah.
We'll do a 3-person episode.
We'll do a 3-man podcast
plus Eric, so 4. I don't know.
Yeah, first 3-man podcast will be with Eric though. Yeah, for sure, most def. We'll talk about something we all mutually know. Teasers. Anyways,
what do we all mutually know?
I don't know. Streetwear, maybe.
I don't know. According to Alex Hong, I don't know how to dress.
Oof, that's a big oof. Shots fired.
Shout out Alex Hong.
Roasting yourself.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, low key true, but yeah.
And then, to kind of end like this discussion on formatting, there's also cameras that shoot half frames as well, which is
which is bonkers.
Which is really bonkers. It's really uncommon. But basically, imagine that, you're looking at like a photo frame or whatever. You literally chop it in half.
Yeah.
And that's what certain cameras do. So instead of getting 36 exposures, you double it and you get 72 exposures.
I'm glad that you did the quick math on that because I sat here for 10 seconds trying to do it and I couldn't do it. But yeah.
Little did you know though that I've been thinking about that equation for the last maybe 5 minutes or so. I'm joking.
Well, you're actually in college, so you know.
But anyways, so they're so they're just a variety of different formats of film out there.
But then there's also the wiggle cameras like the Nishika whatever, which is also a half frame camera, but it has like 4 lenses on the front, and if you go on Instagram and you see those wiggly images, that's how that's shot. Eric and T are Eric's pointing at a price tag.
Oops.
T is trying to grab it.
Oh, this just shows that I'm terrible at charades.
I have no idea what's going on.
And I think we're gonna kind of end this segment with like really popular film photographers in the social zeitgeist
that we can vouch for. I guess.
We can vouch for.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as like local photographers, Mark Kushimi of Flux of Nella Media Group, NMG.
Flux, right? Contrast, whole nine.
Flux, Contrast, all of that good stuff. But Mark Kushimi, if you'd like to be on the show, hit me up, man.
Me too. Let's be friends.
But Mark Kushimi, he's a very well-known photographer in Hawaii and probably maybe in the world, around the world. Hopefully,
definitely in like Japan also.
Yeah. No, but he does like these really cool landscape photos on film, where it's just like a horizontal lines.
He also does like kind of street photography.
Yeah.
And just posts like really nice scenes.
Portrait stuff.
Portraits. Just very like casual daily kind of photography.
Yeah, so Mark Kushimi.
Beautiful.
Yeah, these are just like some recs to check out some really good film photographers because me and Chris are good, but there are definitely people that are
I'm garbage.
Like light years ahead of us on as far as technique, as far as compositions go.
Yeah.
And just name recognition as well. There's also Mel Zhang. Mel Zhang. She's a really really good photographer. She's shot for a multitude of different brands but the brands that people might be a little bit more familiar with is Information. It's
Information.
a Hawaii clothing brand. Moon Collective, a brand based out of
Somewhere. I think
SF, I believe.
Yeah.
SF, San Francisco.
Shout out Benjamin.
I mean, she does a lot of traveling herself, though. I know she travels to Europe a lot. Her photographs are amazing. It's like publication quality stuff.
There's
definitely, definitely a worth a follow. Mark Kushimi as well. Mel Zhang. Any
Casey
recommendations?
Cowie, one half of Tigers in the Sky.
Ooh.
Amazing photographer. From Hawaii, lives in Long Beach. Just incredible images.
Yeah.
As far as like, Issei,
and,
gotta plug the homie.
Yeah,
Issei's
Issei,
just been
plugging the homie.
making incredible work.
Enzo Hama on Instagram.
he has the most ridiculous username, but he has just beautiful images.
No, yes, definitely so. And then I guess we're gonna kind of end it on like a very big name, Taku.
Oh.
Taku, I think primarily he's a music producer.
Primarily a producer,
but
makes beats,
he also has his
owns a barber shop.
But he also has this separate entity known as 823, where he I guess it's like a record label. And like
it's like an art collective.
It's an art collective, I guess. Thank
like
you for
Australian.
helping me.
I think he's Australian, but like Australian Odd Future, but like more calm and mature.
Yeah, but his photos are really good though. I mean, I think he does like this really cool thing where they recently, not recently, but maybe about a year ago or two, maybe in 2018, they released their own film stock, and it's basically expired rolls of film that they had redone.
They only made like 100 or sent out 100 or something.
Something like that. It was very extremely limited. But I think what's really cool and I really appreciate is that they'll repost other people's like film photos that they took on their film stock.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. It gives opportunities to people that may not have been given opportunities on a regular basis, or in a regular setting. So that's really cool. And it also comes along with that name recognition of Taku and 823.
823. I
the
think
823 label.
Some hashtags you can follow. Actually, before we get to that, shout out Ton Haido, the GOAT of nighttime like scene photography.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have bought his book.
Ooh.
House Hunting.
Ooh.
Which is it's just a beautiful collection of images. And
I totally forgot. We didn't. We're gonna end this. Okay, before we end the segment, we want to talk about double exposures real quick. Double exposures. So it's basically pretty self-explanatory. It's basically when you expose an image twice, and like they're really cool.
I apologize for this podcast for
this format's really bad. We don't really have
This is episode 001.
01. Yeah, exactly.
So.
No, but double exposures. If you want to help me out with this, Chris. But basically, it's just like double exposing an image.
So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Some cameras have like a built-in multiple exposure setting. If not, you you take the picture and you rewind it, and then you
again.
expose it again, and it's like weird, but
when it comes to double exposure stuff though, the homie Reed Define definitely does some really cool double exposure stuff on his Instagram recently.
I wish that I knew how to do them better, because they're
incredible. And that too, like you were saying, like film photography has like layers to it. And I think double exposures is like again one of those layers, and it is cool.
One of those
it's like it's like a mastery kind of a situation. It's one of those things that I guess just film photography in general, and just photography in general, and just any kind of art form is just one of those things that it takes time to master and to get really good at.
For sure.
And then again, it's just we want to encourage people to find your own niche, really. I think that's what it is. In this society nowadays, is finding your own niche. So taking what might be popular but making it your own thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing.
Don't be to anyone in Hawaii. Don't take pictures of the same palm trees and same sunset and same beach. Like,
or if you are, like, get a different angle.
Yeah.
Change it up.
No, just don't do it. Like, we've seen enough. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's definitely like find out what you like shooting and stop and don't shoot like what everyone else has already shot. And another disclaimer, because this has to be said, I think. Like T said, we're not trying to discourage anyone.
Yeah, no, that is definitely not the point of this.
Like, we're 100% on board with everybody like shooting film. We love it. You know, it pushes the art form. It keeps it alive, which is Eric just sat on something. But it's a good thing. It keeps it alive and it keeps it around, so hopefully like another generation can start shooting film.
Right.
Which would be bonkers.
Yeah. No, I mean,
but
and film is just cool.
It's all about being humble. It's all about just being patient and learning, and don't gas up your own work.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but
and I think it's
I feel like the work is way better, at least to me, when you kind of just let it out and have it coexist, and
right. Yeah. So sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I mean, on that note, though, I mean, we're gonna kind of wrap it up. So as we're wrapping this up, though, there might be people listening. Huh?
Nothing.
There might be people listening that that are like extremely unfamiliar with film photography, and that maybe after this it might have piqued their interest or whatever. So from one film photographer to another, I guess, what are some cool tips or hints that you might want to give someone that's just getting into film photography?
I would say practice it as much as you can. Like, buy a camera and just take it around with you everywhere. And also, like, just ask questions. Go do your research, ask questions. Like, today, actually, someone hit my DMs. And shout out this dude. But he hit my DMs and he asked me about film scanning. And I was, more than happy to just kind of tell him, like, the pros and cons of, like,
I mean, that within itself is an art form.
Yeah, like, just ask questions and just be respectful and approach people like, just be nice.
Yeah.
Just ask questions, be nice, and don't be afraid to, like, take criticism also.
Yeah. No, that's sick, man.
Yeah, I feel like that's, like, because people are very sensitive. And
can be, people can be.
And, like, I would be mad if someone said your photo is garbage too, but then it's also kind of a learning experience, because
true. I mean, it's all in just like in the way you phrase it too. I think that's a key thing.
Yeah, but criticism and just asking questions are very helpful, and then just practicing and being patient.
Yeah,
Lots
of practice, lots of patience. I also want to say too, I think we might have mentioned it before, but don't get discouraged if your role comes out blank. Yeah. Because just know that everybody has done that at least.
Everyone has had at least 5 blank rolls.
Yeah, even the best of the best film photographers have had a roll come out blank at least once in their life. Yeah. So don't feel discouraged. Just practice.
And then also another thing, just look out for inspo. Look at books. Watch movies, listen to music. Yeah. If something else can inspire, like, your images, then that's really great. Yeah. I'd say.
And I would say experiment. Experiment. Go wild. Try different things, whether it's overexposing, underexposing. Just trying different things, different subjects, different film stocks in this situation. Yeah. But yeah, on that note,
On
this
that note-
has been another episode of
How
the
long was that?
I Can't Explain podcast.
That was like an hour.
Yeah, that was 55
Wow.
minutes long. But yes, this has been another episode. I am your host, Goda T. Thank you again to my co-host for today, Mr. Chris Isono.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Eric Ma of Harbor's Vintage for letting us record in his shop once again.
I'm probably gonna.
Yeah, and until next time, I don't know. We'll figure out an
stay
outro.
broke,
Goodbye.
shoot film.